Right, what's happening, people, and welcome back to the Joey Knight podcast. Sunday, 2 p.m, Chelsea are welcoming Aston Villa to Stamford Bridge. It is a must-win match, but then again, when isn't it a must-win match for Chelsea these days? We're going into this match off the back of a couple of bad results, some not-so-great performance. The underlying numbers are good, but we face a real tough test in Aston Villa. Here to help me break down Sunday's game against Aston Villa is my good friend, Josh of Este. Josh, you looking forward to this one, mate?
I just need a win. Like, any points would just be absolutely brilliant. And I'll tell you what, mate, if we manage to beat these guys, a team that were favoured for the whole of pre-season, people were putting them 4th, 5th in their predictions, I think we'll shut a lot of people up.
Yeah, when we look at this match against Aston Villa, the importance of it is absolutely integral to our season. And I could sound like a broken record here, but until we start winning games, I'm going to sound like a broken record. Every week at the minute, we have an opportunity for a match and a performance to be the catalyst of really propelling us onto big things. And obviously, at the minute, look, the season hasn't started great for us. 5 points from 5 matches. It doesn't make for good reading. However, what I do genuinely believe is that our best performance so far of the season came against Liverpool. That's the best team we've played so far. And then when I look at that fact that our best performance came against Liverpool, there's a little bit of a outside chance maybe that in this match, because we do face tough opposition, and obviously we'll get on to Villa and their strengths and just what a tough test it will be, I think there's a chance that if we can muster up a good performance in this match and get a win, it could be the match that catapults us onto going onto a good run of form. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%, yeah. If we had got that last-minute goal against Bournemouth, things would be and feel very different, right? But if we now beat a team that are favoured so highly, we're going to be going on and feeling incredibly excited. So, like, we just need some boys to get goals. We need Mudryk to get involved. We need Jackson to get involved. We need Sterling to show why he's the guy that's got the highest wages at the club. We just need to see some positivity from those boys. But yeah, I think if we get a result here, everything starts looking a lot rosier, doesn't it?
Before we get on to what we need to do, let's just have a little look at Aston Villa. Aston Villa, over the past year or so, have been one of the best clubs in England, to be honest, in terms of where they were to where they've gone. Things were looking bleak under Steven Gerrard, you know what I mean? Like, he came into the club and it was looked at that he, after the job he had done at Rangers, could propel Villa up the league. They'd started spending big. They were back with their feet under the table in the Premier League and competing. They'd invested the Grealish money. You know, some saw that as wisely, and some of those players are actually now coming good. You look at the likes of Buendia and maybe Bailey, who hadn't hit the ground running initially at first, and a lot of them are now starting to live up to their potential. And obviously, since Unai Emery came in, Aston Villa have just sort of gone from strength to strength. Some people would say that they've been slightly underwhelming towards the start of this season in a couple of games, but I've also looked at them and thought they look very dangerous in a few games, and they're coming off the back of a comeback win against Palace this weekend, showed real character, kept battling until the end and won late on. It was tied between us and Villa last season. We won at their place, they won at ours. Mason Mount scored that really good free kick against them. How much of a threat do you see Aston Villa going into this match?
They're a huge threat. Like, I think they've got a really good squad. They brought in Zaniolo. That's a really interesting one, isn't it? Like, he was so good at Juve, had a really bad injury. He's slotted into the team, and I thought he's looked really good. He was one of those players that could have been like a really high level if he hadn't had a serious injury. And again, that's not saying anything against Villa, but maybe he'd end up at a European giant. So I think he's really good. You've got Diaby. Again, we've spoken about him quite at length. Like, he's looked great.
You know, like, it was quite a common sort of shared opinion, wasn't it, that outside of the top 7 for quite a few years, the best player was Wilfried Zaha. I believed that. Outside the top 7, I didn't think there was a better player than Wilfried Zaha. Diaby's took that title now, hasn't he? Yeah, or is that a stretch for me to say that on 4 or 5 games?
I think it's a bit early to say that, but then you've got players like Watkins who could easily be starting for a Champions League level side, Big Six side. You know, he is quality, and actually, again, you know, come from Brentford, they've looked at the numbers and the stats, and he performs very well on the stats. So
personally, I would say though that Diaby starts for Man City and Liverpool.
Man City,
yeah.
I don't think he's that good. I think you think
you think Doku's better.
Well, yeah, in the long run, yeah.
I think Doku's really good, by the way.
Yeah,
if I'm even pronouncing that right. But I think Diaby's better. I've been watching Diaby. I think he is absolutely phenomenal. I think he's going to have a massive season when it comes to goals and assists this year. And yeah, I think he is going to be Villa's probably, in fact, definitely most important player this year.
He doesn't get in the Man City team over Doku or Foden, he definitely doesn't get in the Liverpool front five. They've got so many different options. We're not saying anything against him. He's a good player, but he's not getting in Man City.
I'm high on Diaby.
He's not getting in Arsenal's team.
I get like this over players sometimes. I just fall in love with them and I'm like, God, he can do no. This fella can walk on water.
So do our directors of football.
Yeah. And if you're watching this, Diaby, hit him up with a bid.
It's too late now.
Yeah. So look, we can recognise that they do pose a real threat. They beat us last season and they're a team that are playing well for the most part. I know, as I said, they've had a couple of results here and there, but I do think that Villa are a team that we'll see up there or thereabouts when it comes to competing for definitely Europa League football this season. What do we need to do to beat Villa? Is it as simple as finish our dinner? Put the ball in the back of the net? Because all of the underlying numbers would suggest to us that we're creating enough chances to do so.
It is just scoring goals, isn't it? I remember we were sat here, right, pre-season, and I said, the one thing that I want to see this year is us bag a few goals. And we were going, Jackson looks amazing in pre-season and Kunku looked really good. Then he gets injured. Like, we had goals coming in from everywhere in pre-season. It looked great. And then we get into the Premier League and we just can't finish these chances. So yeah, mate, I do worry if we aren't a goal up by half time. I think we're going to be in real trouble in this game because I just see the second halves going one way. Yeah,
because that's been a common trait. And actually, I think that it'd be very easy for me, and I do agree with that, we need to be able to finish our chances. We definitely need to be able to. And even when Chelsea do finish their chances, it takes a lot of them. You'll never see a match where Chelsea had 2 shots on target and 1 goal or anything like that. If we do score a goal, we've probably had 6 on target in that match or, you know, something close to that. So I think the easy thing to say straight away is that Chelsea need to finish their chances. I'd very much agree with that. But there is one trait that I'm also looking at from this Chelsea side, and that is experience past the hour mark. I think, like you were saying about getting to half time without scoring, I just think as matches go later on, I'm never looking towards it. Right, let's say, for example, Arsenal are drawing a match late on, a little bit like we were seeing after the first half against Everton yesterday. They're drawing a match late on, and you know there's an absolute onslaught coming. The same with Liverpool, the same with City, the same with a lot of teams. Chelsea are one of them teams at the moment, which I think as the match goes on, and even with our changes, we just lose so much creativity and potency as it gets in that final sort of 20, 30 minutes of the game. So I think that that's another trait that we need to change going forward. We need to be able to intensify things late on and have a late push if we're not winning the game or if we're chasing the game. Yeah, it comes down to subs though, doesn't it, as well? And like at the moment, we don't necessarily have the depth to be able to bring on his super attacking subs. Like, I want Mudryk to be playing and starting a lot of games now, but actually he is sometimes better coming off the bench when you've got tired legs and you can use his pace to get in behind. So I can't wait to get people like Carney and Kunku back and then have them starting and then have these players like Noni, like Mudryk coming on and actually being able to sort of like gas someone. One player that we're both a little bit guilty of neglecting when we speak about players coming off the bench, I think Ian Matson's really important for us coming off the bench. He didn't go. He had the opportunity to. He's still at the club. We need to utilise him. I actually thought he looked good coming off the bench yesterday. Cole Palmer's another one. Look, I'm going to ask you for your lineup now, and I'm going to give my lineup in my final thoughts video, which will drop later on this week. But I do think that the likes of Cole Palmer, he probably, for me, might need to be starting this match, you know. And definitely I want to see the likes of Ian Maatson coming off the bench. But that will be covered in a later video. As for now, I get that we're quite far out from the game and I'm sure things could change and maybe you'll be covering this on your channel. So if anyone's not, they need to be subscribed to your channel. The link is in the description below if they want your final sort of thoughts going into this game. But right now, you know, we haven't got a game through the week, assuming there's no injuries in training, which, you know, with Chelsea, so there probably will be 3 or 4 at least. What would your lineup be to face Aston Villa? Okay, I'm going to need you to put a title on screen here that says Josh's Rogue 11. Yeah. Because this is going to be a wild one, mate. So strap yourself in, prepare for this, okay? I'm going to rip it up. I've not been impressed with how we've been playing. Fair enough, all the stats are suggesting, yeah, we're good, you know, the XG. I'm going to tear it up. So let's go for it. So I think Sanchez starts in goal. That's a very, very easy one. Do you agree with that? Yep. Okay, that's easy. We're in agreement already. I think we need to play a left back at left back. So let's start Chilwell there. I think he deserves to be there. And I just think he got loads of abuse, didn't he, after the game yesterday? Completely unfair.
So unfair.
Was it so much that he got the abuse, or was it so much that no one else sort of entertained it or acknowledged it, and Chilwell actually acknowledged it, walked over and
I think
said,
it was more the second, but it's still unfair on him to get it. A guy that came off the bench who hasn't really like put a foot wrong.
Mate,
really.
I just don't like. It's not that I don't understand it. Listen, I'm pissed off. Me and you watched the game together yesterday. I'm pissed off when the game ends. And I think this is sort of an analogy I've used with you before. And this is maybe like, I come from a boxing background, right? Yeah. So when I'm there supporting one of my mates in a fight, and my mate starts getting a pasting, what do? Do I start booing him? No, I start supporting him even more. He needs my support at that time. It's all well and good to support someone when things are going well, but now we need to show that we're not spoiled. We're not just, we were here for the ride and now it's not going well. We need to support our players. I get that we're underwhelmed with the performance. I get that maybe some people aren't happy with the board and whatnot, but we need to be, getting behind the players. As much as criticism can rightly be sort of brought to the surface and levelled at players when it's called for, I don't think anyone's above criticism. But for the most part, we can't be booing the likes of Chilwell and that sort of thing. But sorry, that was a little rant I had to interlude with there. But
no, I think you're totally right. We need to back the boys. And it needs to go on during the game as well. Like I feel at Stamford Bridge at the moment, it is a bit like, for God's sake, we're still not scoring these goals. And we're getting a bit exasperated by the way the boys are playing. And like more than anyone at the moment, this young squad needs us. So yeah, we'll leave it there. But I think in terms of left backs, Chilwell. In terms of left centre back, Colwell. Simple as that. I think the key thing, and I heard Nini talk about this, Blue Lions TV, big shout out to him, love his channel. He was saying that we need to get Colwell in a central area so he can ping the balls through. And we were saying that all during pre-season. He's totally right. So again, like I really want to just see him in a more central role. He's going to play there for England. He should be playing there for Chelsea. Like I get why Poch's done it, but let's just end the experiment now. Let's just keep him as a centre back. Yeah. So let's have him alongside Chilwell. Then I'm going to go Thiago Silva. I think he's been completely unfairly sort of like told off. Like people have been saying he should be dropped. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Disasi isn't better than him, so let's drop Disasi.
I think it's a case of just people wanting to go for the most senior figure in the squad sort of thing. They're going, okay, well the rest of them are kids, but you should be. Thiago Silva leads by example. Thiago Silva can play in the back four. Thiago Silva is our most senior player, but would walk into most teams in the Premier League anyway. So yeah, I'd completely agree with you. I don't see the disrespect to Thiago Silva being valid whatsoever. Yeah. Who's starting at right back?
So Gusto for me is going to be the right back. Let's go for two attacking wing backs. This isn't anything to do with Disasi, right? Like I actually don't think he played that badly against Bournemouth. He got the clean sheet. I think overall he is actually growing into the team. So I actually rate it completely. I just think I'd rather have Thiago Silva there. So let's just give him a bit of a break. And I'd also, more than anything, rather see two wing-backs bomb on because I think we've got so much strength in that area. So then the key thing is the DM area, right? If you've got two attacking wing-backs, you can't have like basically them push forward and just two at the back. It's just completely lopsided. So there's two ways to solve that. You either have one of them dropping in, which Gusto did in pre-season, easily done. Chilwell could kind of do that, but I want him more attacking. So the way I'm solving it is I'm going to play Ugo Chukwu as a defensive midfield.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout, to be fair. I think that when we're looking at how players will perceive what happens to them when they do perform well, and I very much do think that Ugo Chukwu did perform well against Bournemouth, I think to drop him straight away sort of might send the wrong message. Now, I'd sort of override that by saying whatever is the best way to line up for the game is what Poch should pick, but I do think it sends a good message that if I give you the opportunity, you come into the team, you perform well, you're composed, calm on the ball, good distribution, I will then give you another opportunity. So I could very much see Ugo Chukwu starting this match. Who would you pair him with?
So this is an interesting one, mate. I'm not pairing him with anyone. I'm putting a 4-3-3.
Right, okay.
So I would put, on the right-hand side, I would put Caicedo there. What I like about putting Ugo Chukwu as a DM and Caicedo in front of him is Ugo Chukwu is actually very good on the ball and he's very good with this very simple passing. So what I want it to do is Ugo Chukwu picks up the ball, then distributes it wide to the attacking wing backs, and then Caicedo is there as the sort of the destroyer. Do you remember when we saw Kante playing? Kante was always seemed to be like the deeper midfield, and he actually when he went a little bit further forward, he was winning balls higher up the pitch, distributing out. That's the role that I want to see Caicedo do. Use that engine, be the box-to-box midfielder, get up and down. And I think that could work really well. Just have that real anchor there. And then Caicedo sort of drops in sometimes alongside him as a pivot, but also bombs on.
Yeah, I think that'd look very good in that midfield. And then I'm guessing you're then having Enzo on the left-hand side?
Yeah, I'm having Enzo. So you could say this is harsh against Gallagher. So again, you've got to drop some players here. It's again, I don't think Gallagher's been that bad, but I think for me it's about the balance here. And look, you're not going to drop Enzo, are you? No. So like, let's just say it's going to come, the attacking impetus is going to come from the wing backs and the wingers. So let's have the midfield and the central areas solid.
I really like this lineup so far. However, you were very much right to call it a rogue lineup because Mauricio Pochettino is not dropping Conor Gallagher. I can tell you that now. Conor Gallagher definitely starts this next match. Gallagher is proving to be Poch's man, to be fair. And you know what? I won't argue it at all. I'm happy Gallagher's getting a run in the team, but good start to it so far. So then you've got 3 up top. Let's go through them.
So let's start with the easy one.
Yep.
The easy one is Sterling on the right. So then I've got a choice, right? I've got a choice between Mudryk, Madueke, Cole Palmer, Maatsen. Cool. I'm not going to choose any of them. So you're then going, who am I going to put on the left? I'm going to put Nicholas Jackson on the left. Okay. Why am I putting Nicholas Jackson on the left? Shall I explain?
Yep.
So I think Nicholas Jackson has got so much pressure on him as a number 9. I feel like he could do a job on the left-hand side, use his pace, which is one of his biggest skills, use his ability to beat one-on-one, a man. Again, one of his biggest skills. Let's see him out there. Let's get him a goal from the wide position. Think he'd be really good.
You look at the fact when he hit the woodwork against Bournemouth on Sunday, that was coming in from wide, you know what I mean? And a lot of the greatest goal scorers have always come in from wide. Look at Thierry Henry. I'm not comparing Nicholas Jackson to him, but and the other thing with that being said is he used to play wide for Villarreal, didn't he?
There you go. So I think having a real killer goal scorer on that left-hand side, I think is actually going to be really important for us. Because we don't, I wouldn't say Sterling is that sort of like absolute finisher. No. Do you know what I mean? So like if we actually have like a more striker / winger on the other side, that effectively can form a 2 at some point. And I think we need to start training this because of our January signing.
Well, when you look at having Enzo Fernandez behind Nicholas Jackson as well, you look and you think, do you know what, that could be really good in the transition into moving into attack when you've got Enzo Fernandez threading balls through to Nicholas Jackson, cutting in and shooting at that near post like we saw against Bournemouth. But it does beg a massive question here. Who are you having in the 9?
Bro is back.
But is he back and available? Because he didn't even get minutes against Bournemouth.
So this is why it's the Rogue 11, right? But I think he's going to be playing some behind closed doors friendlies. He's going to be match fit. He's been training with the boys for weeks.
Yeah, he's been training with the boys since more or less pre-season.
Exactly. So this is the thing. Like they've obviously, and rightly so, integrated him very slowly because he had a really serious injury. But now, like, we don't have time. We don't have any ability to slow down anymore. We need to get these boys playing. And I think Broja was so clinical when he was playing and he bossed defences. Yeah. And that's what we need. And imagine Jackson next to him. Like, that's where it starts getting scary. And what I like about that is you've almost got like the Wilson-Isak kind of like formation that Newcastle do. I think that can pay dividends for us. So I think that's where we're scoring goals.
I think Jackson definitely needs the space to run into as well. And one thing Broja does do is he always takes more than one man with him. He always will take more than one man. Where he drives forward with the ball, there'll always be 2 go with him and it'll open up spaces either side. We saw it for a little bit when he came in under Tuchel first time round. And obviously he looked very good on loan at Southampton. So yeah, I don't know whether it'd be too soon for him to get a start. But again, looking at that 11, the first initial thing I think is, oh, well, you can't change too much. But then I like the look of the 11. And also, you need to change something if we're not winning. So, yeah, there's a few shouts in there, such as moving Levi Colwell over to centre-back. I massively agree with. Ugochukwu, I think, deserves minutes. So, yeah, it's a very good 11. Let's have a score prediction from you.
This is so hard because it's heart versus head, isn't it? I think my head goes... Draw would be good. Draw would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But then my heart goes, I feel that Poch is going to turn it around at some point, and this could be the game that does it. So do you know what? Why don't we go 2-1?
2-1.
What do you think?
I like that. I like that scoreline. Again, my head goes 1-1 draw. My heart goes 2-0 win. So defensively, we haven't looked bad either, you know. So yeah, I don't know. I do think that Villa's attack will be able to give us a lot of problems. So maybe 2-1 might be a bit of a better guess. But again, I am going with my heart there. My head probably says a 1-1 draw. I will be dropping my final thoughts on the game right before. It'll either come out on the Friday or the Saturday. I'll see how the working schedule's going. But make sure you are around to see that video when it drops by subscribing to the channel if you're not already. And even if you are already subscribed, make sure you hit the bell, because if you do that, you get a notification every time I upload a video, and that means you are in the right place at the right time to see all of my content. Once again, thank you very much to Josh Aveste for coming on the channel today, as well as always, and please do me a massive favor, if you're not already, subscribe to Josh's channel so then you can see all of the content that he is banging out. We will be live on the kickoff on Sunday. Obviously, we'll be watching the North London derby, but we will be keeping a close eye on Chelsea's game against Aston Villa. We'll be talking about that on the kickoff. We'll be talking about all things Premier League, so make sure you are there to watch us. Get in the comments, let us know your thoughts. When this video drops, I will be reading all of your comments. I'll try and get back to as many of you as I possibly can, so let me know your thoughts, and I will see you all in the next one.